Hey everyone, welcome back to Let's Talk Comics, where we dive deep into the world of comics and beyond. Today we're going to be tackling a hypothetical scenario. What if Wonder Woman, one of the most iconic heroes from the DC universe, was in the Marvel universe? Imagine the possibilities if Diana Prince joined the Marvel ranks. Let's explore how her presence could easily shake up things in the Marvel world. To start off and set the stage, Wonder Woman, also known as Diana Prince, is easily one of the most powerful Amazon warriors with a rich origin in the DC universe. She is known for her superhuman strength, her combat abilities, and her magical artifacts like the Lasso of Truth. But what if she was to step foot into the Marvel universe? How would her presence affect the Marvel landscape? To start the video off, let's first revisit Wonder Woman's origins and abilities. Created by William Moulton Marston in 1941, Wonder Woman is an Amazon princess with a divine heritage. Her powers include superhuman strength, agility, the ability to fly, and she also wields the Lasso of Truth, which compels people into honesty, and her indestructible bracelets that can deflect bullets. Obviously, people know these kind of things. These abilities make her a formidable hero in the DC universe, but how would that translate and measure up in the Marvel universe, where characters like Thor, Captain Marvels, and a lot of other characters also possess godlike powers? The potential impact on Marvel heroes that Wonder Woman would most definitely have is absolutely, honestly endless. One of the most exciting crossovers that I would really love to see is how she would interact with characters like Thor. Them being from two different pantheons in mythology would just make it for a very particularly interesting situation. Due to the fact that Wonder Woman is the daughter of Zeus, and I'm going to keep that way in just for the fairness of the one, there's not really much of a change that needs to be made since Zeus exists in both. Her being the daughter of Zeus, when we have characters like Hercules, Zeus already existing in the Marvel universe anyways, Thor would just have an amazing relationship with her, and I honestly see them probably being friends most likely than not, due to the fact of Thor and Hercules usually having some decent relationship and decent like back and forth with each other. I just see them having a lot of similarities, and due to the fact that they would probably know each other for a good long while, even if they didn't like each other originally, they would most likely just have to get along due to the fact of one, they both have extremely long lives. And both of these characters share this godlike status and immense strength. Yeah, as I said, I think they would clash quite a bit, especially due to the fact of kind of person who Thor is earlier on before he actually joins the Avengers. But I honestly think that they would probably team up more than anything else due to the fact that Thor eventually and usually actively does try helping people. Now, the main relationship that I would actively love to see is her relationship with somebody like Captain America. We've already seen in the actual DC universe that she was actively helping out during World War II. So, in a situation where she is in the Marvel universe, I see an extreme situation, an extreme likelihood that her and Captain America would probably, one, know each other, and it would be a better situation to say that as soon as he gets anything like the Super Soldier Serum, they would probably have some kind of relationship. We already know that in DC already, she has her own Steve that she is dating. I just see this kind of basically where she switches one Steve for the other. And her and Captain America would probably have an amazing relationship due to the fact of one, he has all of these superhuman strengths, so they would be able to actively like match up, not extremely well, but they would be able to match up a little better. Captain America has like extremely good charisma, and their values and sense of justice would align very closely with each other. I honestly see a very powerful alliance coming from them, and their different approaches to leadership would probably be a honestly better thing for them to be able to work very well with each other. Now, when we even talk about something like Captain America probably still ending up in the ice, this would be a perfect person for him to have a relationship with, because 70 years later down the road, Wonder Woman's still alive and she still looks almost the exact same. She doesn't age very much during 70 years, so she would be perfectly fine by the time that Steve would come back. He would already know Diana is still going to be around. She is still going to be looking the exact same. It's going to be like her, like she just basically hasn't aged a day in all fairness. So I see her having a very big impact on two characters like that specifically. Those are the two characters that she would probably have the most big relationship with, aside from characters like the Hulk or whatever, or other female characters that would probably like get introduced or have any kind of major storyline. As I've already stated, Wonder Woman would have a very profound influence on something like the Marvel world, especially when it comes to things like Asgard and Olympus. While Olympus already basically exists and all of those characters already exist in this universe, Wonder Woman being added in would just probably be like a little extra cherry on top due to the fact of one, she's one of Earth's mightiest heroes for so long and she usually predominantly stays on Earth and is usually not even in Olympus. Yes, she would have relationships with people like Hercules. Yes, she would have relationships with people like Thor and all of these people that you would obviously know very early on due to the fact of, well, they all have absolutely extremely long lives. The presence of Wonder Woman just could affect that mythology and that entire relationships with the Asgardian and Olympian gods just due to the fact of now there's someone that is well more profound on both sides. Thor being the most profound person on one side of the godship and Wonder Woman being the person on the other side, which honestly would probably make a very interesting dynamic on something like the Avengers team of them having two quite literal children of, well, like people that are mainly predominant in the two most popular mythologies in existence besides something like Christian religion or any other like main religions. These are the two most prominent mythologies in any kind of universe. Now, speaking of mythologies, I honestly see her presence probably altering the balance among the power of the Marvel's mythological characters, and her storylines and anything else would probably involve a lot of gods and ancient beings. And I also see her having a very significant impact due to the fact of her Amazonian roots and connections with Greek mythologies would introduce an entire new catalyst of elements into Marvel's already rich tapestry with the gods and other mythological beings, especially when we have characters like Gore the God Butcher or anything else that usually has to deal with all of these highly leveled people, especially like people like Loki and all of these other things. They would probably have some kind of very weird interactions with her at any given point in time, most definitely. Now, how I really see her being integrated into some of Marvel's main storylines would be very, very interesting, especially when we have things like the Infinity War or like Secret Wars. When we have things like the entirety of Thanos having to deal with the Infinity Stones, adding Wonder Woman is a very, very nice thing to have. Mainly one due to the fact that she is extremely strong in a lot of rights, and she is an extra person that would be able to like kind of take the brunt of dealing with a lot of these things. Her having a very good healing, her having a fairly decent durability, her having the ability to do so many different things would just be an extreme boost in terms of a lot of things. And her powers would just kind of add a little perspective and influence these larger scale battles in very many ways. Her just existing and being here would be a very big help. And the thing is, I also see her having probably a fairly good relationship with a lot of these different things because she would be a main profound member in a lot of these different teams. I see her probably having the biggest impact in a lot of these events. One, because of the fact of how strong she is and how much everybody would respect her no matter what. Now, the one thing that I am also going to actively talk about after this would be her influence on other Marvel teams. Instead of talking about teams like the Avengers that everyone would probably be assuming that I would talk about, I'm first off going to start with teams like the X-Men. When we have characters like Magneto, when we have characters like Professor X, and people that have been around for a good portion of time, Wonder Woman would most definitely want to help out people who are quite literally being abused and like treated so poorly. I see her having a very good relationship with mutants and trying to do as much as she can to probably help them out, especially when they start like an entire thing with Genosha and just having all the mutants go onto their own island. I see her helping out as much as she can, maybe even like kind of dealing with her own thing of figuring out a way to like get an entire spell around there so no one sees it, as the same way as like how they deal with making sure that nobody else ends up on the entire Amazon island. Just kind of do the same thing with Genosha, like, and have the X-Men be able to actively live their lives peacefully in their own way, away from all of the other people. Yes, they will come out and help people as much as they can, but that will be on their own free will, not just being prosecuted, not just being torn down and belittled at any given point in time. I see her having an extreme, profound relationship with all of these people. Now, obviously, talking about the Avengers, I see her being an extremely main, crucial member of the Avengers in any time period, whether we're talking about Hank Pym and those group of Avengers, or if we're talking about like the Avenger groups that we kind of have in the MCU. She would be a pivotal character in any of these two things because of the fact that she would just be around no matter what. She would be one of those characters that is just around throughout the entirety of the thing because she doesn't really have to worry about her aging much. So she would just be one of those members that is always going to be around and be a very like good role model for that. And speaking about that, she would be most likely the best mentor and leader between these teams, and drawing from the experience that she's already had for the fact of her living a long life. Yes, I'm not going to say that she's going to be the absolute definite leader of like the Avengers, because of the fact that we still have characters like Captain America, which I honestly see this being a very good partnership between them due to the fact of them most likely, and I say this full-heartedly, having a long-lasting relationship due to, one, him not having to look back and go to Peggy because of the fact that he has someone that he had a very good relationship with, and most likely already had a relationship with during his time, and he still has like Bucky and her, the two most important people in his life after he started dealing with the war. It would just most likely be the best situation for him. He doesn't have to worry about, oh yeah, the person that I loved the most is no longer with me and I can have to go back, if we're talking about something like the movies. It just made me a situation where now he's just going to be staying here anyway because he has perfect everything that he possibly could ever want. He has the love of his life, which I honestly see Diana being, and his closest friend. So it would just be a very good situation for him on that. Now, I know this is a fairly short video, but there isn't really much that I'm going to actively need to talk about. The only other things that I could actively see happening are just her dealing with a lot of these bigger level threats. When it comes to people like Galactus, or her having to deal with all of these big giant things, especially like being just a bigger help. Like the main thing that I would honestly see being the most interesting thing that she also could be able to do is her entire situation with the lasso of truth and how that would affect like other people. The fact that no one can really lie to her, so it would just be a very big situation. And I honestly would love to see a scene where the Avengers just starting off, where not everybody knows exactly who everybody is, do a scene around a circle where they all introduce themselves and kind of give out their identities for anybody that hasn't. Well, obviously, I don't really need and see that happening mainly a lot with the Avengers due to the fact of Iron Man, Steve Rogers, Thor, Wonder Woman, and people like that don't really have secret identities, if we're being fairly honest. Diana has her own secret identity due to the fact that not everyone recognizes her anyways. Captain America, he's Captain America. There's not really much way to keep your identity secret. Iron Man literally reveals his secret. Thor is Thor. You can't hide that. So a good portion of the team doesn't really have secret identities. They just have lives when they're not dealing with it. So that would be just one of those main things that is the biggest difference between the DC universe and this. A lot of the Avengers don't really have secret identities in full-on fairness. Like, yes, some of them do, but it's not anywhere near as many as the Justice League, where almost everybody has secret identities and is keeping everything a secret. That is one of the main things that I would honestly love to see how that affects her relationships and her entire, like, hero activities, due to the fact that not everybody is actively acting the same, or everybody's actively doing any of the same things anyways. But with all that said and done, Wonder Woman being added into the Marvel Universe would be an absolute pleasure and sight to see. Her potential interactions with characters like Iron Man, which I honestly see her not really liking quite literally at all, due to the fact of him usually not being like the kind of person that she would want to be hanging around with. Bruce and her have a very good relationship because she knows Bruce isn't the type of person that actively has that playboy persona. He just puts that on. While Tony actively does have that womanizing playboy persona. And yes, you guys can talk about, oh yeah, he's not just a playboy. He's not just like a billionaire playboy philanthropist or whatever. But that is a good portion of what he does. That is a good part of him as well. So I don't see her liking that, and the fact of her and his entire family being war profiteers and warmongers. I don't see her actively having a very good relationship with that. It would be a very good similar situation where until he does something truly heroic, they would not have really anything to get along with, and they would probably just not get along with whatsoever. Her and most of the other Avengers would get along perfectly, but her and Tony, I don't see a very good relationship happening between them at all. But please tell me what you guys think about this video. Tell me what you guys think would happen if Wonder Woman was in the Marvel Universe, and comment down any other characters that you guys would like me to do. I will eventually be doing very long format videos of this and doing an actually fully detailed story and like actively make it like a full-on what if scenario where I talk about her birth to every single storyline and adding as much detail as I can, but you got to give me some time for that and let me build myself up to getting to those kind of long videos. And you guys got to show me that you guys really want those. But I will see you guys in the next video. If you guys did enjoy this, make sure leave a like, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.